Hello, everyone. Today I'm going to try to explain to everyone why I am not afraid of COVID-19. Okay, so I can go ahead and pelt you with all of the statistics and things like that, where I know everyone's already been beat over the head with them. I'm sure everyone by now knows that COVID-19 seems not to have much of an impact on younger people, people who are under 18. And if you're if you're under 60, I think is the number, it really doesn't seem to have a whole lot of impact on you as well, unless you have comorbidities. So your chance of surviving COVID-19 with no comorbidities, and you're 50 years old or younger, is pretty good. If you're my age, then you're in your 30s. You're probably going to be your chances of survival are absolutely incredible. The rate of death is really low for people who are under 70 or 80 years old and who have no comorbidities. You can look that up for yourself. You don't need to take my word for it. There's tons and tons of data out there that's easy to get to on the internet. But one of the reasons I want to take a look at this is not from the data point of view. So anybody can go look up the data, which I don't, to be honest, I don't think a lot of people do. I think most people just believe, I feel like a lot of people believe whatever they're told on the media. But I think that you should go look it up for yourself and don't just take my word for it. But the main point I want to come through here is from my perspective as a Christian. And so part of this is you can make a strong biblical case for it, and part of it's just my lived experience. And, you can take anecdotal stuff with a grain of salt, right? But your lived experience is important, okay? Everything that we take in, even data, even data comes from our lived experience. You cannot read data and accept it as true if your lived experience has not proven to you that when you set foot on the ground, that ground's going to hold you up, and that gravity's going to be there to keep you from flying into outer space. And that's just it. My lived experience has shown me, along with my knowledge of the Bible, that God is 100% sovereign. That's another reason why, I posted a video not too long ago that I wasn't worried about the election, no matter who wins. And, I have that peace and that calm that you can only get from God. And the same is true for my life. I gave my life to Christ. It doesn't belong to me. I'm so thankful that God allows me to live and to serve Him and to have a life. But apart from Him, my life is worthless. But with Him, my life is, an incredible, wonderful experience. And I'm just so thankful that I get to serve God. And I think that one thing we have to realize is that God is in complete control of everything, and I don't think you're going to be able to trick Him. Okay, so I used to think that when I was a teenager, I used to think that, well, if I stayed up late at night, then I could wake up on time, and then I get extra hours in the day, and it's like I'm cheating the system, right? Because I'm living longer. Right? Well, that's not true. It comes to find out, you read research, and sleep deprivation actually causes your telomeres to shorten, which makes you die at a younger rate or a younger age. And so, I couldn't outsmart God. With that being said, I also believe there's nothing I can do to outsmart God and add years to my life. Okay? So, I definitely think there's things I can do to make my life worse. So one of the things I ride a motorcycle, and I've had several wrecks. I have a little bitty crossover Honda. It's like a mix between a scooter and a motorcycle. It's like a little scooter that You still sit on it like a scooter, but it goes 70 miles an hour. And that thing's a blast to ride, but it's very dangerous. I know my parents worry about me on that thing, and I'm sorry to them. But, and I've been in wrecks on it. One time somebody ran me off the road, and the girl that was on the bike with me rode on my back while I skid like, I don't know. It felt like 100 miles down the road, but I'm sure it wasn't that far. My phone, however, it did. It slid all the way down the road like 200 yards. I had to go find it. It was back when phones were made out of plastic, so it was like completely undamaged. It was a smartphone, but it was made out of plastic. It was a Samsung Galaxy 2 point whatever or something, I don't know. But it just skid down the road, and I was able to pick it up, and I could have died. And the girl that was with me could have died. And, it was a very scary thing. I was wearing a helmet, and thank God I was wearing a helmet. Someone loaned me the helmet. And the front of it, when I was sliding across the ground on my face, the pavement on my face, it chewed through the center of the helmet. And it actually broke through. And then my face rubbed against the concrete for just a little bit right before I stopped. So the helmet gave way right before I stopped. It rubbed the skin off my chin and off my nose. And I realized I said that backwards. I know that that's my nose and that's my chin. I have college degrees. I'm so smart. Okay. But anyway, and when I lifted my body up, all I could hear was screaming, and I went and checked, and the person that was with me was fine. They were just absolutely terrified. And, I looked down, and I had blood coming out of my sock, and I pulled my sock down, and there was about a pencil thick stream of blood squirting out every time my heart beat. So I just pushed my sock back on it to kind of put a little pressure on it, and I drove as fast as I could to the hospital. And then, I got there, and they're asking my name and my phone number and my address, and I couldn't tell them. I realized, I didn't know my phone number anymore. I was like, and they were like, never mind, we'll get it later. And they sewed me back up. And then it wasn't too much longer, about a year later or so, a deer jumped out in front of me. I was riding my bike in the morning, really, really, really early in the morning. Just drove out of city limits. and just ran out of cell phone service. In Louisiana, that happens. You just, you go places and there's no cell phone signal. And so as soon as I got out range of cell phone signal, a deer jumps out of the ditch right in front of me. There's nothing I can do to stop it. I'm going full blast. I jam on my brakes, but, there's only a few feet between me and the deer. So, maybe I slowed down to like 50. I don't know. But when I hit the deer, I remember thinking to myself, so this is how I die. And it's right. Everybody says you have a very peaceful feeling about your death. You actually do. You really do. You're at full peace with it. Or at least I was. And at that time I was saved. And so, I don't know if it makes a difference if you worry about your eternal fate. But I wasn't worried about it, and I don't know. I was very at peace. I was like, oh, this is how my life ends, as I'm flying over the handlebars and over the deer. My bike just blew into pieces. I broke my scapula, and, I ended up walking. By the end of the day, I was going around on a walk, and I was back to work in a couple weeks. Recently, I was stopped at a light, and a guy comes up, and usually I'm looking in my mirrors to see if anybody's coming up on me fast, because the bike's pretty maneuverable. I can, move between vehicles if I need to. But that day I was just daydreaming, and this guy in an Expedition just hit me full blast in the bike, back of the bike, and popped me up onto the hood of the Expedition, and the bike doesn't run anymore. And, he runs over some other cars trying to get away from me. And the whole time I'm trying to tell him, like, look, I'm not going to hurt you. I just want to get your insurance information. And, but, those are the kind of things that happen. And so, I'm not saying all this to say that, like, I'm some kind of really awesome dude, that I'm surviving all this stuff. I know it's because God wasn't done with me yet. He, at that point I was saved, but being saved is only the beginning of the journey. That's the very first step. It's not the end of the journey. It's the very first step in the journey. And a lot of people get that wrong. So if I keep riding a motorcycle, maybe God will get tired of me. risking it, and maybe, one day I'll mangle myself up. I don't know. I surely hope not. But, the main thing I know is that I'm not going to kill myself unless God's ready for me. And if he's ready for me to die, there's nothing on earth I can do to stop him. This is the God that created heaven and earth and the entire universe and fine-tuned it so exquisitely. And, I can't outsmart him. I'm not powerful enough to stop him and stay his hand whenever he wants me to, whenever he calls me home, and nor would I want to. As a Christian, to live as Christ and to die as gain. So that's something that I'll look forward to in a way. I'm not trying to kill myself. Don't get me wrong. I love my life. Like I said, I love my family and my wife, and I love taking care of them. I love the roles that God has given me to provide for them and to take care of them and to teach them and to teach others, because I'm a teacher. I love creating art, and I can't wait to see what I do in the next life, though. But I know it's going to be an upgrade. Now, the main point is I'm not afraid of COVID either. If I'm not going to stop my life, I'm not going to shut down my life because there's a virus. I'm just not. Maybe if it was killing everyone it came in contact with, that might be a little different. But, you have to realize that 30,000, 40,000 people die every year of automobile accidents. And no one ever once says, let's stop driving. Can't we just walk to work? Can't we take a bicycle? No one ever says that. Why not? Because they feel like their life or someone else's life is worth the risk, because the risk is relatively low. And that's basically everything we do. You cannot, like I said, you cannot outsmart God. You can stay in your home and lock yourself in because you're afraid of the virus. And guess what? A storm may come along and blow a tree down over your house and it land on the room you're in and kill you. A truck could swerve off the road and run through your house and kill you. Your house could catch on fire while you're asleep. I don't want to be morbid. I don't. Your house is gonna catch on fire. That's kind of weird. Okay, but anyway, the point is, there's nothing you can do to stop yourself from dying. You will die. You will die. And I hear all the time, like, follow the science. Well, the science tells me that the risk is low. And the science tells me that I wear a mask to make other people feel comfortable and to make them feel safe and to be polite and to, maybe help not spread it to them if I somehow caught it. But to be honest, I know the mask doesn't really work. Unless you're washing that mask every hour and you refuse to touch it, which I can't refuse to touch it because after a while my mask rides up into my eyeballs and then I can't see, but also my bottom of my mouth comes out of the bottom of it, and then I'm just blowing spittle everywhere again, just like if I weren't wearing it. So do I just not touch the mask, or do I touch it and pull it back down? It's a catch-22. It's a quagmire. There's nothing you can do about it. It just, and I see many people, it drives them insane, and they touch it almost nonstop. I don't, the science is out on the mask. Some say it works, some say it doesn't, but the truth is the way we wear it, it doesn't work. Ask anybody. Ask anyone in the medical profession, in the medical field. The way we wear it, and the way 90% of the people wear it, I don't think it's working that much. But the point is, there are so many things that are going to kill you. And I know that there's a risk, you could die. There's X amount of people, I think 1 or 2, 1.2, 1.5 people that die every year from vending machines. I'm not going to walk down the street panicking and like, oh God, I walked by a vending machine. I could have been the one. That could have been me. I'm not going to do it. I refuse to do it. I have my faith in God. I'm not saying God's going to protect me from the virus. He may choose to, he may not. But one thing's for sure, I'm not going to add a single day to my life with my own scheming or plotting. And that's my true belief. And even if I could, there's a difference between living and staying alive. And, my grandparents, they've been locked up in a home for months and months now. Maybe almost it could almost be a year now. Not quite. They've been locked up ever since March and not been allowed to go anywhere. And they're in their 80s. how much longer are they going to live? I got to see them one time through a glass partition. And I think that's pathetic. You know, how many memories could they be making? How much life could they actually be living? But no, they're stuck in their assisted living home, in their apartment, their little apartment. And they can't go anywhere or do anything or see anyone that they care about or love. And, you know, my family, we try to Skype them and things like that, but that's just not the same. So as for me, a young man, with the odds the way they are, I'm not afraid. You know, I'm going to have Thanksgiving, and, you know, if I have to, I'll peacefully protest there with my turkey. I saw a meme that was really good. It said that, you know, if 30 people are allowed at a funeral and 10 people are allowed at Thanksgiving, then I'm going to have a funeral for my turkey. And so, you know, that's kind of the way I feel, you know. Those rules are arbitrary and silly, and I think it's just a power grab. And, you know, I don't think a lot of the stuff, some of the stuff's going to go away, but the power they're grabbing, I don't think they're going to be reluctant to give it back. We're already, you know, almost 150 days into our 15 days to slow the spread. You see how the narrative changed? It was just slow. It was, you know, all the experts said, you're going to get it. There's nothing you can do. You're probably going to get it until, you know, people reach herd immunity. You're going to get it. And most of the people are going to get it. And so what we want to do is slow the spread so that we don't overwhelm the hospitals. Well, that's what we did. And now all of a sudden it became that we're locking down to try and save every single individual, which I don't think is realistic. And you maybe call me cold-blooded or whatever, but, you know, like I said, you know, it's up to my beliefs. And my beliefs tell me that you're not going to trick God. You're not going to outsmart God. So you think you will. You think I'm foolish for believing in him. But we'll see who's right whenever we die. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm not trying to die. Like I said, I absolutely love my life. I love that God would let me use, that he would let me serve him, and that he would use me, because I know he doesn't need me. But, you know, I'm going to walk with confidence. The same reason why people say, you know, how do you ride that bike? How do you do this? How do you do that? Aren't you terrified? No. I mean, you know, tomorrow has enough of its own worries. Why am I going to sit here and worry about things that haven't even happened yet? And I've known people. I don't want to make light of this, so I want to say this right now too. So I'm sorry if you've lost someone to COVID. You know, I've known people that have died from it. People, friends of my family, people that I really cared about. But, you know, they all fell in that category, in those categories of higher risk with comorbidities in their age, and it's terrible. And I really hate it for those people. And especially their families. Like I said, to me, my understanding of death is that, you know, death is an upgrade. But the people who are here, that's the real hurt. The people that you leave behind, because they miss you and they love you, and they're not going to see you again on this side. And so I understand that, and I'm not making light of that. I'm just saying I cannot be afraid. Personally, I can't be afraid. I'm sorry for anyone's loss. I'm sorry that we have to, you know, go through this. But if you want me to be afraid, all I can say is don't hold your breath.